What's going on, guys? This is Gibbs, and I am back with your number 8 player from 2017. Chausette grabs those honors, and honestly, this was a tough year for Chausette. This was a really rough year, and I'm really glad how it ended for him. He's probably my most improved player from Season 3 to Season 4. And honestly, Season 3, that's definitely a forgettable experience for him. I don't think he wants to remember that, but the experience he got from Season 3 probably definitely helped him in Season number 4. He was, of course, on Gale Force Esports in RLCS Season number 3. And in my opinion, one of the main reasons why Gale Force did not make it to the World Championships, he didn't play all that well throughout the season, probably the third best on his team. But then when it came down to the playoffs time, he looked extremely nervous throughout their playoff matchup when they played Market. And honestly, was one of the main reasons why they lost that series. So he probably took that pretty tough. He got booted from Gale Force. They wanted to build around Violent Panda, so it was a last-second move before Season number 4 where he got a new team with basically a bunch of leftover players. Like Farrah, he got kicked off the leftovers, and then Bluey, he just came off a team with Doomsy that didn't make it into RLCS Season number 3. He was looking for greener pastures, and this team of young guns came together. And honestly, the reason why they performed so well, they started out 6-0 during league play, I felt like it was mostly due to Chausette. He's one of the few third-man rotation players that does actually hang back really, really far on PSG. But when he gets his opportunities, he makes the most of them time and time again. He was my league play MVP for Season number 4. He lost out to Niels Cook for the honors, but I voted him to be MVP because I thought he was the most valuable. He allowed Bluey and Farrah to do what they wanted to do because they knew they had that third man in the back with Chausette. During Season 4 league play, he finished number 4 in goals per game at 0.9. And that's among all European players. And that's with him being on that third rotation most of the time. And the only way that that can happen is if you have a really high shooting percentage. He shot 34%, number 2, only behind Pashy, his former teammate. But Pashy, he just had an unbelievable season with all those goals towards the end of it, so you can't really fault him there. But we saw PSG kind of awaken in Season number 4, and then they went to Gnarly, and they just kept it going. They just, it did not stop, and that's when people were like, all right, this team is for real, because they kind of bombed out of the playoffs. They got reverse swept, came in 4th. People were questioning, like, was this a fluke? But then Gnarly happened. They played really well there. That included Chausette. And then, of course, the World Championship, they got bounced out in 5th place. They took out Cloud9 before that, though. And honestly, they could have beat G2. I think they were just playing a little bit off. But Chausette, I felt like, was a main component of that World Championship run. Even though it was a disappointing 5th place, he still led the team in goals and assists in both the Season 4 World Championship, and he also led them in Gnarly and E-League. So he performed exceptionally well for his team in all of those scenarios, and that's probably the most important thing to me, is from Season 3, when I saw him in those playoffs looking extremely nervous. He's a very young kid. I was a little worried for him going into some live environments, but then Gnarly kind of was like, all right, they look like they can handle the pressure. Let's see if that happens to World Championship. And I felt like they handled the pressure pretty decently there as well, taking out Cloud9. Of course, losing to a hot G2, but it happens. And then E-League was a little bit disappointing. He was the best performer on their team by far, I felt like, for E-League, and they just missed out by 1 game to make it into the bracket stage. It's something that who knows what could have happened if they did make it there. There's definitely room for improvement for this PSG roster. And for Chausette as well. Sometimes on the defensive end, he has some mistakes, but it's also, he's always that third man back. So then when mistakes happen with him, it usually results in a goal. So he's going to get a lot of that blame, and that's just the way it is. Like, as that third rotation, people don't blame an offensive player for missing a shot that he's supposed to hit as much because the score doesn't change, so it doesn't hurt them as much. But Chausette, I think he can, he has grown so much. He's probably my most, not only improved, but I feel like grown as a person possibly throughout the season. Like I felt that way for Garrett probably in 2016. He kept growing and growing throughout the year. And I feel Chausette's on a very similar road as Garrett, but on the European side. So I want to see him continue into 2018. PSG is going to be a force to be reckoned with. They obviously got a great organization to go by. And now my phone's ringing. Look at this. High quality content, guys. High quality. But Chausette really impressed me this season. He's one of my favorite players to watch now as well. Coming from that third rotation, I really like to see how he plays. And I'm just really excited to see this team in 2018. Pretty much every team in Europe is going to be very fun to watch in 2018 because RLCS is going to be stacked. But Chausette, I want to see if he can make another MVP-like performance in season number 5. It's going to be a tough road to do it, but he makes my list at number 8, mostly because of that season 4 performance. And then, of course, they had a really good gnarly run, and he performed pretty well at E-League as well. And I want to see what he can do with a full year under his belt playing at this high of a level. So that's it, guys. That is my number 8 player of the year for 2017. Chausette45. Love numbers and names. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in a few days for number 7.